Well, welcome to the Rooted and Free Sisterhood podcast. And I am Joy McLaughlin, and
And and I am Jenny Hershey.
and we are sisters in real life. Um, sisters by birth, friends by choice.
Yeah.
And this podcast is born out of an online membership community for women, for Christian women, that is in the process of being formed right now. But Jenny came up with the idea. She's like, why don't we start a podcast? We have a lot of history together and we have lots of
Oh yeah.
stories and lots of lessons along the way. And so we thought it would be really fun to just put them out there. God has been so good to us and he's been so
Yes.
faithful. But life hasn't been without struggles, and
Yeah.
we have found laughter in the middle of struggles, not always.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you have the benefit of hindsight and you can go, oh, that's where God was in this situation.
Absolutely.
But we also really like to laugh. Jenny is one of the funniest people I know, and she doesn't even try. She
I'm
just
not sure
is.
how I feel about that.
Oh, ask anybody. They'll tell you.
Okay.
So, we have just kind of been just trying to decide like how we want to break this up. And so we decided for this first one, we're going to talk about our really early years. So our
Hmm.
dad was a pastor. And so we moved around, a few
Yeah.
times. And so our life is kind of broken up into location, at least in part.
Yeah.
So,
And houses too. How many houses did we
yeah.
live in childhood?
Oh,
Because we moved from rental to parsonage to rental kind of thing.
yeah.
So sometimes I remember things according. I think we were in this house. So
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We can pack things up. We can get rid of stuff. We can move stuff. Yeah,
You want to move, call us.
I know. Or don't.
Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, and then Todd and I, the first 13 years of our marriage, we lived in like 14 different places, which was
Really?
ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't even remember that
From
many.
rentals,
Oh,
and then we moved,
oh my word.
to another state. And in that
Yeah.
9 months we were in that state, we lived in three different places. So it was really crazy. So yeah,
Yeah.
we've slowed down now, thankfully.
Hallelujah.
So we started out in California. We were
Yes.
both born in California. Well, all three of us. We have an
I
older
think
brother.
that explains a lot. You say you were when you say I was born in California. Really?
Right? For sure. So Jenny is the middle. Our oldest brother, he's about, I don't know, he's like 20 months older than you, 4.5 months or so older than
Yeah.
me. And then Jenny came along. She is the middle. She's the middle sister, middle kid. And then I
Got
was
to
the
make
baby.
all these pieces work together.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I just lived a lot of my early years in a happy bubble. So, the things that they experience, I, was oblivious to. But so we lived in San Bernardino, just outside of LA.
Mhm.
And early memories, Jenny, what have you got?
San Bernardino. Actually, I was just thinking of this. What was the name of the little boy that lived next to us in San
Timbo.
Bernardino?
I do remember Timbo.
Timbo. And do you remember what he did to you?
I do
Don't worry, this
remember.
isn't bad. You should tell
I
how
do
it happened.
remember.
That's a big part of my memory. I can
Isn't that
remember that.
funny? So
Yeah.
we lived in this cool neighborhood and didn't we live in one house and then we moved next
Yeah,
door?
we were 505 Dover Drive, and then it became 605 Dover
605
Drive. Yeah.
Dover Drive. So yeah, we'll get to Timbo in a second. We moved away from there when I was 4, so I don't have like a lot of memories.
Uh-huh.
Although we went back every summer for years and years and years, so I built up more California memories then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we lived in one house, moved to the other one, real close to the San Bernardino Mountains, which,
Yeah.
caught on fire frequently. They
Yeah.
still catch on fire. And so tell about your memory of the fire, one of the fires.
It's more like almost a snapshot. I remember standing looking out the front door, and there were hills in the far distance. And honestly, I can't guarantee, did I see smoke or was I just looking for smoke? I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
quite sure.
Yeah.
But we were on standby for evacuation. And so
Yeah.
I remember the dog leash being by the front door. Um, and mom later said that at first she had all of this stuff, clothes and food and everything packed and ready to go if we had to
Mm-hmm.
evacuate. And then a friend said, ah, the Red Cross will get you all that, just make sure you have your leashes so you can grab your dog. So mom said she put everything away, got the leashes, and she figured somebody else could get us clothes.
That's
And I think,
hilarious.
you said dad was spraying down
Uh-huh.
the roof. I don't even kind of remember that. I just remember it being a little bit tense and we were watching and waiting, but then we never had to evacuate that time.
Yeah.
So
I don't
that's
actually remember him spraying down the roof, but I think I remember mom telling us that he was
okay.
doing that
Okay. And I
because it
believe
was
it.
a shake roof, so it was wood,
Yeah.
and so, the embers that were flying around. And, that house then, long after we were gone, did burn to the ground in the wildfires. That whole neighborhood did. We were actually
Yeah.
living in Washington State at the
Yeah.
time, and on the front page of the Seattle Times, there's this
Yeah.
big story about the paper or about the fires. And then we looked at this and we're like, that's our neighborhood, and that was our house, which was crazy.
Because we could identify the second time we lived on a corner lot and had a little bit of a, I don't know what you call it, a hill down. And we recognized that. And we recognized somebody who had a pool and we kind of counted down. And somehow we
Yeah.
realized that was our neighborhood, even though it was all completely flat.
And I think there
Completely.
was like a road name too. So I don't know if it was Dover or the
Okay.
other one, but yeah.
Maybe that was
So
it.
it actually
So,
it did end up. Okay, so
yeah.
yes, Timbo, our neighbor. I don't know if you're still called Timbo. We've not been in touch ever.
I
But
wonder why.
we would go over and play next door with Timbo. And at one point, I'm sure there was no malice here, but
No,
Timbo and I ended up in a closet together, and he
this
had a
isn't bad,
lamp.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't bad at all. He had a lamp that didn't have the shade on it, so it was just the bulb. And somehow that hot light bulb, came in contact with my neck. I really don't remember it, but I know that I got burned.
It burned the skin off. You had a
So,
perfectly red.
see,
It was,
I have
I
no
remember
memories, no trauma associated with it. But mom was a nurse, and
that.
so she spent that night then, just watching and trying to keep stuff off of it and keeping it, protected. And I have no scar on my neck.
Yep.
Don't feel bad, Timbo. It was an accident. But anyways,
And we didn't have a neighborhood feud or anything. Both
there
the
was
moms dealt
nothing
with
like
it,
that.
and
Nope.
that is one thing. Mom was a nurse, and
Yeah.
so you did not go to the doctor, and heavens, you did not go to the emergency room unless you were dying. I
Oh,
mean, you
we
did
never did.
because
Yeah.
she knew what to do.
Hmm.
Oh, I had forgotten this. Remember the dog bite?
Oh,
We
yeah.
lived there was a neighbor down the street,
I forgot about
and
that.
the it was, I think, a neighborhood kid's dad had a German Shepherd, and he
Yeah.
had it on the leash, and we love dogs. We had dogs. I had no fear of dogs. I was an idiot. I reached out to pet that dog, and it lunged and it bit my face. And
Yeah.
it was a miracle from God. It wasn't worse because it was like the teeth were right under the eye and went all the way to the jaw, underneath the jaw,
Yeah.
because my face was pretty small. So
Yeah.
I ran home screaming,
Hmm.
and mom took one look and she's like, "It's okay, blah blah blah." And went in and started cleaning me up and
Yeah.
laid me on the couch to get me calmed down. I mean, I was scratched, but she knew what to look for and she knew she just had to take care of it. Well, pretty soon the man came and he's frantically knocking at the door and he was so apologetic. Turns out he was a lawyer too. But so he was probably inwardly panicking, but I think he truly did. He felt awful. And he'd
Yeah.
had the dog on a leather leash and pulled him back, but just wasn't quick enough to get him away from my face. He wanted mom to take me to the emergency room and he was going to pay for everything. And my
Yeah.
mom said,
You did not
no,
do
the
that.
emergency. Yeah, well, and mom said, you know what? The emergency room would be more traumatic to
Mm-hmm.
her. And she said, honestly, I've worked the emergency room. I know exactly what they do, and I will
Yeah.
take care of it. And I think he checked to make sure. And yes, I too don't have a scar. But that made me a little bit more cautious around dogs. But because we had dogs and mom loved animals, I never developed this phobia of dogs or anything. So that was
Yeah.
a good thing
Yeah.
because I do remember that. I do remember running home screaming. I
Yeah.
kind of remember
Yeah.
down the sidewalk.
Yes.
So,
All right.
yeah,
So now we got to throw a story in for John. Um,
there's a lot of those.
there's a
And
lot of
he
those
can't do
stories,
anything about it.
but I don't remember this really, except I just remember hearing about it, but him getting hit in the head with a rock,
Yes,
and that
yes,
was there, right, at that
yes.
house.
It was across the street, if I remember right, in the field. Kids were
Okay.
playing in the field. All I remember is the field across from us.
And
So,
he somehow got hit in the head with a rock, came running home. And I don't even know if I remember this or just hearing about it, but he's got his hand on his head and he's like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? And my mom's like, John, no, you're not gonna die. And he's like, oh. I don't know if he
okay.
got stitches that time. He's had his share of stitches, but
Yeah,
I don't know if he
she
did.
did take him to the
Oh,
doctor
she
that
did.
he needed it.
Oh,
I can't remember.
John
Well,
got to go.
not that time, maybe, but other times he had
Yeah.
plenty of times where she couldn't deal with it alone. Um, but
Yes.
where where was it that I knocked out his tooth? Was that in California?
Oh no, that was in the garage at that house. We were playing.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jenny and I decided it'd be a great idea to play baseball in the little tiny garage. And John's in
inside
there
with a
doing
wooden bat.
yeah, John always had projects going on, still does. But he was
And mind
doing
you, I
something.
was 7 or under, so that means you were probably 4
Yeah.
and John was probably 8 or 9. So that's the age.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if the ball came in contact with his tooth or the
No,
bat
it was the
did.
bat
It
because
was the bat.
I you threw the ball at me. I
Of
swung the
course.
bat, and just then he turned around. So I knocked out his tooth. And once again, he ran in crying, "Am I gonna die?" Because it knocked out his tooth.
Well, it was half his
And
tooth. It broke it in
oh,
half.
that's right.
Yeah.
And mom said no. I don't remember. I'm sure she put ice on it. I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember dad not being happy, and I think we got spankings.
I do remember that. We did. We
Dad wasn't a tall man, but he did have large hands.
I
And
do
when he wanted
remember.
to spank,
I remember a few spankings.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were never. I hardly remember. I just remember that they happened, but
Yeah.
I wasn't
There wasn't that
traumatized.
many. Yeah.
No, and he didn't. He didn't beat. He was never out of control. And honestly, the spankings kept you from doing stuff,
Yeah.
knowing that. And he did that for things that were really out of line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I guess
but
that we
anyway,
should say now that mom and dad are both gone. They
yes.
dad passed away in 18 and mom in 24. And so we have lots of memories, but we cannot confirm any of these stories or details with them any longer. But
Notice we waited until they can't know.
right. I have
So,
another memory in that garage, and I think it was with Timbo again.
okay.
And do you remember that white metal cabinet that we had that mom kind of
Yeah.
used like as a pantry?
Yeah.
I remember for some reason thought it would be a great idea to just like explore all the food in there. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So so we opened up like cake mixes and like, would eat the powder, chocolate chips. I don't even remember what else, but it never once occurred to me that that would be a bad thing.
Didn't mom didn't
Yeah,
mom catch you or
yeah.
something?
But like
Yeah.
the moment I saw mom's face, I'm like, that
Oh,
was
this
not a good idea.
oh, shoot,
Oh,
that's right.
goodness.
I do remember in that garage too, I think we had the dryer caught on fire
Oh, I didn't know about that.
because I remember I think it was well, or was it mom bringing the hose in the garage and
Hmm.
spraying it down, but I just thought of that
Oh,
because just
wow.
seeing that garage in my mind, I'm like, yeah, because there was the
Yeah.
workbench and the door was that way. Yeah, and I think the dryer was on the right of the door somewhere or something, but,
Huh.
nothing else caught fire. I think they caught it early enough.
Yeah.
So I've always been very cautious about dryers
Oh,
my
yeah.
entire life
I don't
remembering that.
think I
Yeah.
even knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more memory came to mind. Do you remember they had like these it was like the gutter, but then like there were these open like holes at the end for like the storm drain. So it's
Uh-huh.
different than some of the storm drains now. But do you remember that we had the hose running and we could stick it down in that hole and like a frog would get on it and we could pull the hose out with this frog. Do you remember that?
I remember something like that, but
Just a
honestly, I would not
silly
have
little
remembered.
memory. Just thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Uh-huh. I mean, who wouldn't want a frog? I remember too, one time it was like one time there was a tarantula in the street, and I remember kids, like, putting a cup over it and running over it with their bicycle tire,
Oh,
and it was the
wow.
coolest thing then. Now I'm like, "We're idiots."
Right.
But
Right.
it stayed light so long, I can remember being put to bed at 7:30 because we were young in
Yeah.
that house, and you could still have kids outside playing,
Hmm.
and just thinking that was the worst thing ever.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, this is a not very great memory, but I'm going to share it anyway. I remember, I think you and John must have been at school or somewhere, and I was
yeah.
home with mom. And, it was at the age where, learning what like swear words were. And so I remember being in our bedroom. It had the pink poodle wallpaper, right? Or something like
Uh-huh.
that.
Yep.
And I remember just standing there, and mom must have been in another part of the house. And I'm standing there and I'm like, I'm going to say a bad word. And so I did. And I just yelled it, SHIT, as loud as I could, just to see what happened. And you know what? Like the walls didn't fall down. Apparently, mom didn't even hear. But like that kind of satiated my curiosity because I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, that was a
It was kind of anticlimactic in a good way. Very strange.
because if she had heard it, you would have known.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You would have dealt with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
also remember that bedroom. We had that white dresser, which I
mhm.
still have that white dresser. And I pulled the drawers out too far, and so it fell over onto my pink baby buggy. Do you remember that? I had like
No.
this plastic pink baby buggy, and like it didn't break the plastic, but like the metal, legs
Yeah.
and wheels, it totally distorted. But anyways, just
Oh,
random
wow.
things. All right, and
I
dogs
know.
were always a part of our growing up, so
Mhm.
we need to include our dog journey. So, did we have Lady then?
We had Lady.
She was a
I
dachshund. Was she? What was she?
Was she the Dalmatian?
Oh, well, didn't we also have a
Wait.
dachshund back then?
Yeah, we did have a dachshund,
What
but
was it? What was the dachshund's name?
I don't remember because I
Okay.
do remember the dachshund because Grandma and Grandpa had them.
Right. Okay. And Lady, so we had Lady a Dalmatian? I don't even remember that. Yeah.
Maybe I've got the wrong name with it, but we did have a Dalmatian, and
But it
I
wasn't
forget if
Molly.
somebody Well, maybe it was Molly.
I don't know. Anyways, mom raised Dalmatians, so we primarily always had Dalmatians. We ventured into a couple other breeds at different times. They didn't last long. But
Yeah.
anyways,
And if
Dalmatians, that'll be an ongoing theme.
Well, and if you've ever raised, and I'm sure there are other animals like that, but Dalmatian hair is like short, but it's spiky. It's stiff and it's spiky. And so we
Yes.
had these white, because they were indoor dogs, we had white hairs everywhere. Now, this was a Phoenix memory, but we usually kept sheets like on the couch, and then if
Ouch.
somebody
Yeah.
came over, you took the sheet off so they
Right.
could sit there. Well, I don't know exactly why it worked, or somebody, the district superintendent, I think it was, popped in to our house
Oh
maybe
no.
before church, and he was in a dark suit. And I can clearly remember when he stood up and walked out, he had white Dalmatian hair stuck all down, like in his feet and all down his legs. And I was just like, oh
Nice to
no.
see you, sir. Oh yeah,
I have no idea what happened.
we were well into adulthood before we got rid of all those hairs.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
our main sofa was like a dark brown
Tweed.
tweed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like those hairs, they just stuck in there. Yeah.
They just don't come out. And
Yeah.
we brush the dogs and everything. It's just the nature of those hairs.
And so I have mom's that Afghan that she made. Remember that black one with the colored like
Yeah.
centers?
Granny squares.
It still has dog hairs. It's still, I mean, we never use it. It just kind of
Yeah.
sits there, but it has been washed, but you know, they're there
Was
for eternity, I'm pretty sure.
what was it Devona? I'm not sure, but a lady who she raised
Navona.
Dalmatians. Navona. Okay.
Yeah.
She raised Dalmatians. She had white and black shea carpeting. She just gave into it totally. And
You
then
know,
the hairs fit with it.
yeah. But I
So,
remember not wearing like black or
no,
dark colors until after I was married because I didn't want to fight with the hairs. Isn't that funny?
exactly. Exactly. Because
Yeah.
you couldn't even get them out like with tape or something. You had to almost tweeze them out
No, I remember
in like
sitting on that
polyester.
couch with tweezers just for fun. You know, millions of hairs in there. Oh,
Oh.
goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dogs were a big part of our life.
They were a big part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raised several litters of puppies and
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So any more California memories? So dad was a pastor. That was his first church,
Oh,
right?
well, no, because we were in Lancaster and Palmdale before
Okay,
that.
I just grouped them all together. Okay.
Yeah.
So he
Oh,
had those churches and then we ended up in San Bernardino before
yes.
we
San Bernardino, we moved from there to Phoenix.
Okay.
So
Okay.
one
I
thing I
have no
remember,
memory of those.
one thing I remember is that mom and dad said I was about 5, and the church we pastored at, there was a funeral home across the street from it. And so
I do remember hearing that.
actually I kind of remember saying, because it looked like a church to me. I was young, and
Yeah.
I said, "That's a church where people die." And I couldn't figure out why mom and dad were laughing so hard. I knew there were
That's not
dead people
funny.
at that church.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
funny.
you know what? The San Bernardino church was where Mom said during the service one time, a man had come while the service was going on, and mom was doing something for Sunday school. So she
Yeah.
was out and about and she met him. And the man said that he needed money for milk for his children.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
didn't have enough money to get milk. And
Yeah.
mom said, this was mom, come with me. I'll take care of you. And she took him to the church kitchen. And in the refrigerator were 2 full gallons of fresh milk. There was a family in church that had cows. They would always give us milk
Uh-huh.
every week,
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
that was their act of love for the pastor.
Yes.
Anyways, And so she said, "This was left for us today," but she said, "You just take this." And she
Yeah.
said the man got angry and said, "I don't want that milk. I need money." And he
Oh,
stalked off. And then mom said when she saw him get in his vehicle, his vehicle was nicer than ours, which
right.
that didn't take a lot to have cars nicer than ours. In fact,
Right.
ours were always old. But um, she was just like, okay, apparently he didn't just want milk.
Yeah,
That was what
right.
he said he wanted. But
Yeah.
now thinking of that, that would give me I'd be a little bit anxious meeting somebody in a different part of the church, and while everybody else is somewhere else and they're
Yeah.
wanting something, it's definitely a different era, but back there and she was like, "Oh, and that was it. The director of the San Bernardino Rescue Mission went to our church." And
Oh
she
man, we
said
got to talk about that for a minute.
yes, and so
Yes.
she said, "Oh, the director's here. I can set you up with him. He might have resources for clothing and that kind of stuff too." And the man wanted none of it.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah, so there were some families that our family became really close to
yes.
during our time in California. There was the Horse and the McReynolds and the
Uh-huh.
Farwicks, and there's
Yep,
probably more that I just don't remember. But even after we moved away from California, we would go back every summer.
yeah,
We would visit those families, and our grandparents lived there also. So we would kind of have this couple weeks of, visiting grandma and grandpa in San Diego or La
yeah,
Mesa, and then so really fun memories. And we
yeah.
have, been able to kind of be in contact through Facebook, over the
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
which is really sweet. But yes, so was it Mark Horst that was in charge
Yes, yes,
of the rescue mission? And so
yeah.
Dad would go and like preach or, share, meet with the men there. And Mom, because she was a nurse, she kind of helped. They had like a medical kind of facility, and they would get donated a lot of like uh medication samples. Do you remember that? And so I remember
Now I
sitting
do.
on the floor, very sanitary. That was my job
Yep,
though, was to like pop them out of their little, you know, containers or
yeah,
plastic things and help put them in. Not my job, but it was probably
yeah,
just something to keep me busy.
yeah.
But
But
we would
now
eat
when you
there
think
for holidays.
yeah.
What were you gonna
Well,
say?
I was just gonna say with those meds, can you imagine now if somebody had a child? I mean, back
Oh,
then it
I
was
know.
you were helping. Now people would flip out about that, and I do
Right.
understand, but mom was also there and she was watching you and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
anyways.
Way back when. But yeah, we had some holiday meals there, and
Yeah.
those are some fun memories.
What I remember was I don't know, I was between probably 5 and 7 because we moved away when I was 7, I think, if I remember right. I was in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, I remember one time Paul and I can't remember if there was another child, were supposed to sing at one of the meetings. We were gonna
Uh-huh.
sing, what was the song? I'll think of it sometime. But anyways, we were supposed to sing a song. I knew the song. I was so nervous, but I was young enough. My stomach hurt really bad, and I didn't understand that was nerves. And I
Yeah.
remember telling mom during the service that my stomach really hurt, and she was basically like, "You'll be fine. Go do it." And
Oh
so
no.
we went up there and sang it. Yeah. And so
Oh.
but I do remember standing up there looking out at everybody. And
Oh.
Paul was or Miss Mark Horse was a big bear of a guy.
Hmm.
He was perfect for that. You talk about being called to that ministry because he loved the men, but he also stood firm. If you
Yeah.
were going to get a free night's sleep, you came to the service. It wasn't
Yeah.
optional. It didn't matter if you
Yeah.
believed. That was kind of like paying your rent.
Hmm.
You came to the
Yeah.
service. You didn't have to do anything, but you had to come to the service. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool getting us it gave us a little bit of experience being with somebody that maybe
Hmm.
wasn't in our neighborhood or something.
Yeah.
So you definitely touched even at a
Yeah.
young age and, our parents weren't afraid and nobody else was afraid and they weren't
Hmm.
suspicious and they didn't talk about them. So it was really good to just that's part of what you do,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
know.
mean, it
You
seemed
share
very
Jesus
normal
with
to us.
whoever. Yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
can remember I don't know if I should say this. Um,
Now you have to.
I had a crush on Paul, and even I was young,
Uh-huh.
obviously young, but I had a crush on Paul.
Yeah.
And one time we were going sorting through some of the clothing and stuff that came in.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this little ring with like this big old ball that was reflective or something, and he gave it to me. And so
Oh,
secretly, later on, I would put it on my left hand and
that's
pretend. The
hilarious.
poor guy had no idea.
That is hilarious. I'm gonna message him on Facebook and tell him, "Hey, Paul."
Do not. But he played the piano like a dream
Yeah.
even when he was and this was probably more when we went back to visit, but he was playing the piano and just really
Yeah.
I could just remember being in awe of him that he was that young, but to me, it just seemed incredible how he could play.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's fun.
Well, and one time his older sister Eileen, I think it was Eileen,
Mm-hmm.
was babysitting us.
Yeah.
And she called her parents for something. And she said, she's smiling at me. And she was talking, that's it. Her parents were in bed. She was talking to her mom. Her mom was in bed, and her mom goes,
Uh-huh.
he's smiling at you. And they said Markor sat straight up in bed and was like, who's smiling at her? It was like, it's the dog. It's okay.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know.
Yes.
So,
We did have a
um,
dog that smiled. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was, you know, I think the California church, that were some of mom and dad's best friends.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
peer level, they related to, they could be their self, even though they went to the church, they could be themselves totally with
Yeah.
them. And, and that showed in the years where we kept in touch and
Yeah.
everything. I think life got difficult and mom and dad's friendships weren't as
Mm-hmm.
much. So, but
Yeah.
those were,
Those early
and
ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can remember being at the McReynolds and hearing the train go by, and Arndt was a conductor,
Uh-huh.
I think.
Yeah.
So there were times where they knew his train was going by or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And I
now
remember
I
being at the
will,
McReynolds after we went back
yes.
and playing The Ghosts Come Out at Midnight or whatever
Oh,
that
that is one of my
game
favorite
was. That was
memories.
a fun memory. Yeah.
Yeah, because all the
Yeah.
kids were there and it was
Yeah.
dark and we were
Mm-hmm.
all safe and the parents were all inside and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah. Well, I think it was at the McReynolds that I got my first taste of real life because we basically lived in the city.
You're
And,
right.
we ate
Yeah.
meat, hamburgers and stuff. And I remember one summer we went and they had this calf and it was named Popcorn. And we
I
got to
remember
pet the calf.
popcorn.
And I remember it was the coolest thing and thought it was the coolest thing and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
then we went back the next summer and we were having hamburgers or something. So we're
Yeah.
eating away. And then one of the adults mentioned, oh, this is popcorn from last year. Our parents are fine, but I just remember stopping and thinking, I'm eating popcorn. And it was a horrific idea, at the time. I mean, it just felt weird to know your food.
Yeah.
Now it's
Which,
natural and we get cows
right.
and chickens and pigs each year and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But back then it just, I'd never known my food before. So,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. My one popcorn memory is Ruthie being
Oh,
she was sitting on his neck but backwards. So she was facing his back because he was little and she was just petting him. And then Paul decided to scare to scare Popcorn. And so Popcorn took off running with Ruthie on his neck. And I just remember
screaming.
her falling off and she's like, Paul! We need to tag them in this so they can relive these memories with us.
Do do you remember the candy that Charlotte gave you?
Kind of.
Charlotte, one time, I think she was watching all of the younger kids.
Yeah.
She gave you a piece of candy, but it's so you bit into it, but basically what it was a ball of butter with jelly around it.
Oh, now that you said that, yes, I
Yeah,
do remember that. I probably
yeah.
liked it,
I know.
knowing me,
I think the butter part got to you at that
right?
age, but
And I
anyway.
remember, do you remember they had that back patio and we would just flood it with water and we would slide on our bare skin? Like, what
We
was that all about?
we jump on our knees and slide across it. Now I'm just like, are you insane?
Oh my goodness. And I do
Yeah,
remember playing baby. I like to be the baby.
you were the baby.
Still the baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fun.
Anyway, well, lots of really fun memories
Yes.
of California, the early years, Joy and Jenny, the early years.
Yeah.
As much as we can remember. I'm sure we will revisit. There's lots of
Yeah.
stories. Um, but yeah, we don't want to make this too long. We don't want to scare people away.
Wait a
This
minute.
this may
People
just
are enthralled to find out about our childhood. Are you kidding? People would pay money for
you
this.
and I might be the only viewers, and that's perfectly okay because I've had a
We'll
really
watch it
good
again
time.
and again.
Right.
Got a
But we
thousand
do.
views.
What'd you say?
I said, it's got 1,000 views. I did 500. You did 500.
Jenny. Oh my goodness.
This is so fun.
We don't even need other people.
Uncoachable. Sandy.
Right. But this is not the Jenny and Joy show. Today
No,
was, but we want to invite other women to join us. Whether you have a biological sister or you have a dear, sweet friend that you call your sister, like we
absolutely.
want to share other people's stories too, because we need each other. And especially as, things just get crazy, like we need people that we know, love and support us, that we love and support and that have our back. And like, God
Absolutely.
created us to be in relationship and to be in community. And so that's what this online community is about. And to share this space, like we want to hear your stories. We want to hear your stories of God's faithfulness and how he brought you together and just anything else that you want to share. It's just a fun safe space. We want to honor God, and we want to just promote sisterhood. So
Yes.
if you
Yes.
want to join us, we would love to have you. So let's see, probably just leave a comment below, or
Yeah.
you can email. I'll put an email on underneath too. We're just getting started, so we're figuring this all out. So if you have a comment, be nice. If it's boring,
That's
don't
okay.
tell
I
us.
got that.
Right. But anyways, I think that's it for today. So thank you for joining
Yes.
us, and Jenny, see you
Well, and I
shortly.
just,
Yeah.
with what you said, I just want to say, if you're somebody from our past, we went together in school, and even if we haven't
Oh, that'd
talked
be
in
so
years,
fun.
but we have a collective memory, don't be afraid. That would be really fun to reconnect through this because it's, again, it's
Yes.
not about us. Well, let's put it this way, you better reconnect or somebody better step up or all you will hear is us.
Right. That's
But
right.
yeah,
And we're not solving the world's problems here. We're having fun. We're having
this is
fun.
just the
You
start.
know,
So,
and yeah, and like God is woven throughout our story. And so you're going to hear a lot of that part too. There's good times and
definitely.
there's difficult times and God is always faithful.
I
Um
wouldn't say we were always best friends growing up. So,
no.
this was
Okay, that's
definitely
that's the next one. Yeah, let's
okay.
talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's
that's a
not
great
like,
idea.
yeah, yeah.
All
So,
right.
hey,
Okay. Until
love you
next
guys.
time.
Okay,
Love
see you guys
you.
later. Bye.